In this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 things I wish I'd known before actually owning a bearded dragon. I'd love to have Diego here with you to show you and help reiterate things, but as you can tell by the lighting, it's night time, the lights are off, he's fast asleep, I don't really want to disturb him. So number 1 on the list is lighting. I really wish I'd spent a lot more time researching the specific requirements for lighting on a bearded dragon. Back in those days, it was a 10% UVB strip light with 115 degrees Fahrenheit on the basking spot. That's what the information out there was. Luckily these days there's a lot more scientific background into everything. So if you're new to owning a bearded dragon and you're still seeing these care sheets from 5-6 years ago, start looking a bit wider variety. Play channels like this channel, so if that's something you want to see, hit subscribe. We'll bring you all the latest scientific knowledge to do with lighting. Hopefully, if I can get my head around it, because it's a mind blow. Nowadays we're looking into the UVI, which is UV index. That incorporates everything to do with the specific lighting for your bearded dragon. So it's got your ultraviolet light, your infrared light, your UVA, your UVB, loads of things, all the different Kelvin, everything perfectly, and that's what your bearded dragon needs. Whereas back in the day it was a 10% bulb with 100 degrees on the basking spot. Nowadays it's a little bit different. Just like Diego now, I'm testing a load of new lighting with him to do with the sunrise, the higher UVB output that they have in the middle of the day, and the sunset. A lot of my regular subscribers will know about that product. If you're new around here, I'll stick it up here or up here, sorry. I really wish I did put a lot more effort into researching. It didn't cause my bearded dragon a lot of harm, it's just my own comfort really. Number 2 on the list is humidity. I really wish I spent a lot more time researching humidity, not just what it should be at, but how to lower it, how to keep it perfect. The humidity changes throughout the seasons. What's the humidity in the wild through brumation time? All this sorts of stuff. And it's amazing how many people out there don't look into humidity. When I first got Diego, I didn't know what humidity was. I didn't know it interrupted his sleep patterns. I didn't know he could get respiratory infections. I didn't know any of that. I didn't really pay too much attention. But when I did start to research it a couple of years back, a fair few years back now, then I started to learn the complications higher humidity could have. And here in the UK, our general ambient sort of humidity is around about 50%. That was exactly what it was in Diego's enclosure. So then I've done a lot of research on how to reduce that humidity, and it's amazing how much ventilation played a good part in that. Reducing the humidity in there is less chance of respiratory infections, stuck shed, any problems that could be related to humidity. I'm so happy I've done the research into that, and if you haven't done your research into your humidity, please do so. If you want to learn how to sort of lower the humidity in your bearded dragon's enclosure, again, I'll whack a video just up there, click on that and it'll take you straight through to it. But humidity, if you're new to bearded dragons, is vitally important for a lot of reasons. Best doing your research into that. The Facebook rant, here we go. I found out rather quickly that Facebook is a very toxic place if you're new to bearded dragons. The people on those specific Facebook groups just hammer you and hammer you and hammer you until you feel like you're worthless and you're a bearded dragon killer. Avoid the Facebook groups at all costs. They're great if you just sort of say, don't go onto those groups and say, oh no, my bearded dragon is not eating, or my bearded dragon's this, or because they're going to come straight back at you trying to find a problem, trying to find a reason to have a go at you, trying to find a reason to call you a murderer. And there's a few sites out there on Facebook that are pretty good. I can't comment on them because I'm no longer on Facebook. That's just that. But I remember back in the day, I stuck a picture up of Diego going, oh, look at my beautiful bearded dragon, he's won today, whatever. The amount of people that were going, it's nothing to do with the care. I was just showing them a nice picture of Diego. What's his temperatures? Hold on a second, what's that got to do with you? My temperatures are correct up to the care guide, the modern day care guides. Yeah, but what's his temperature? So I'll tell them, no, you're doing it wrong. It should be this, this and that. Oh, go away, leave me alone. You're going to get a lot of abuse if you go anywhere near those Facebook groups. You'll get people, have you trimmed his nails? Well, yes, I have. How did you do it? Why do you want to know that? You're just trying to find bait to have a go at me. Just leave me alone. Just go find a job or do something to keep yourself occupied. Just leave me alone, go. But then there's not just one person on those groups. There's 10 people on those groups. And they just, they frustrate me because they make new reptile keepers feel like crap. That's solely it. They make new reptile keepers feel like murderers and they're not doing a proper job. It discourages them for coming into the hobby. You think a bearded dragon is normally, 9 times out of 10, the first reptile that a new reptile keeper would get. They need education. They don't need you having a go at them if you're Mrs. Smith from some foreign place that's never had a job in her life that's having a go at me for keeping my bearded dragon at the correct temperature, and you don't even, I didn't even ask you to give me a temperature, but you're having a go at me anyway. Just leave me alone. I'm not even on Facebook. This is just a, yeah. Some Facebook groups are good, I'll give you that. Some Facebook groups, but I can't tell you which ones because I don't know. If you guys know of a decent Facebook group that's not full of Hitlers, stick it in the comments down below. Just for anybody who's new to bearded dragons, they can click on that and go and find out for themselves. Just take what they say with a pinch of salt. If you do have any questions, if they start having a go at you for any questions, just come to me and ask, am I doing this right? And I'll just be straight with you. If you're not doing it right, I'm not going to call you a murderer. I'm going to say, this is the modern way of doing things. Have a look into it, see what you think. Sorry Facebook, I wasn't supposed to be bashing you too much. If you're one of those people, comment some hate down below or stick the thumbs down. Either way, it's engagement and it does good for me. Let's go on to number 4. Foods that you should avoid giving your bearded dragon. This is something I never knew, and I actually made one of these mistakes when I first had Diego. Now, obviously, bearded dragons, they're omnivores, so they'll eat more bugs as they're young, but they'll still eat greens, they're vegetables and stuff like that. As they get older, they eat more greens than actual bugs. I wish I'd known that for a start, but either way, I got Diego when he was an adult. He was brought in as a sort, I'm going to say a sort of rescue. It wasn't a rescue. I didn't take him out of a bad habitat. The ladies just gave him away because they could no longer look after him, so I took him in. When I brought him in, he was on sand. I'm going off topic. The foods you should avoid. Now, there's a lot of food that you should avoid, and some are not native to the UK, so you don't really need to worry about it, but they are to some places. Something like fireflies. They can be extremely toxic to your bearded dragon and can kill your bearded dragon. Not can kill your bearded dragon, they will kill your bearded dragon. They have an antioxidant inside, antioxidant. They have something inside them that is very toxic for your bearded dragon. And then you go onto the lines of, this is the one that I made the mistake of at the very beginning, which was lettuce. Bearded dragons absolutely love lettuce. However, it's not going to be deadly for your animal, not at all. There is just absolutely zero nutritional value inside lettuce for your bearded dragon. It's great for tortoises because they can eat it, and it could take 3 weeks for their body to absorb all of the nutrients out of it before it comes out the other end. With a bearded dragon, however, it goes in one end, straight back out the other end. There's avocado, that's extremely high in oxalatic acid, which is, over time, that's one of those things where you can give it to him slowly a little bit and it'll make him a bit ill. If you keep giving it to him over a period of time, it's going to kill your bearded dragon. So just avoid avocados altogether. That's something that's not really out there too much, but that's something I read on a scientific paper, so you can take it as gospel. It is true. There's something called beet tops, which, you know, your beetroots, the leafy greens off the top of that, them and spinach, they're both exactly the same. They contain a substance which will bind the calcium, basically. So the body of your bearded dragon will not absorb calcium. This food will absorb the calcium, fire it straight out the back end of the bearded dragon, and your bearded dragon won't be able to absorb his calcium, which means you've got a potential for metabolic bone disease. And then here's another one that I actually nearly made this mistake, and it was rhubarb. I almost gave Diego rhubarb. I was just flicking around in a book and I saw rhubarb. I thought, oh, I wonder if Diego would like that. I went out and got some, got it prepared. I thought, I'll just check it. Went to check it and boof, it's toxic for bearded dragons. I'm not 100% sure why it's toxic for bearded dragons, but it is. Or at least that's what my research said. If it's a slight chance it's not going to be good for him, I'm not going to give it to him. But the food can go down on a deeper level as well. I mean, what do you gut load your feeder insects with? If you are breeding dubia roaches and you're feeding dubia roaches oranges, that citrus can be toxic to your bearded dragon. So you want to avoid feeding your dubia roaches oranges, or you can feed them oranges up to about 48 hours before you're going to feed them. Then take them off the orange and give them something totally different to keep them for that long, to make them extremely healthy to then feed to your bearded dragon. You can buy so many different gut loads out there for your bearded dragon, for your dubia roaches, that are safe to feed onto your bearded dragons. And number 5, the last one, isn't so deadly for your bearded dragon, it's just annoying for you. Crickets and the noise they make. Jesus Christ, if you have one cricket accidentally escape, that chirping is just gonna get to you forever and ever and ever. Ugh, don't do crickets. Thanks for tuning in, I appreciate you all. If you've not already done so, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing.